Hey, welcome out to another episode of Drake's Dungeon. I am Drake. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed or not, but almost every episode, my dog has been asleep next to me while I've recorded it. I don't know how obvious it is, whether or not, but I'm going to start saying that she's my official co-host. So I'm Drake, and speaking for Toph, my dog, we are here to bring you another episode. Joining us this episode is our new executive producer of War Commander. For those that aren't aware, Friendly Fixers actually moved on to a new project that we can't really discuss yet here at Kixeye, but
secrets.
So secret. But we have a new executive producer, a new EP joining us. So I would like to introduce to the community for the first time, Planck.
Hello, Drake. Hello, community. It's
Hello.
good to be here. It sounds weird hearing you say executive producer, but I'll take it.
Hey, you've transitioned into the role over the last month or so, You're not exactly brand new. So you've been on the team for a little bit more than a month now, getting the lay of the land. It's funny because this is actually you've worked on our other games that I'm sure you'll talk about a little later, but you dived just headfirst into the pool of War Commander when you joined, and so. It was so much like seeing you play around with all the units and the tech and just taking this crash course in the game. It's like seeing a new player, so to speak, like on the forums or Discord. Like it's been really great watching you kind of dig around through this. It's been fun.
Yeah, and it's been a lot of fun as well. I mean, the first 4 weeks was literally, as much as there is onboarding tasks, like specific things I had to learn from the previous EP. The first 4 weeks were mainly just sitting, playing, deep diving. I actually created a document to get into the nuts and bolts of it, and just write down everything I could about the game. So yeah, it's been pretty fun so far.
Well, the first new unit that's really come out since you've joined the team has been the Harpy that just came out this last event. Have you been playing around with it at all?
I did. It's a lot of fun. I think players will enjoy it. It's got a unique sort of spin on it, where you can actually have it in your drone silo.
Yeah, I'm currently I'm trying to get more of them so I can fill up my drone silo right now. I think that's great because we haven't really had a new drone unit in a long time, and so this being something that is also good in platoons and drone silo, I think makes it pretty sweet.
And it looks pretty cool. And without spoiling too much, it's got a pretty sweet war paint as well. So just
that's coming out in Invasion coming up. I guess by the time this episode goes out, the war paint will be out by the time this goes live. So,
and I'd like to see if players can kind of guess the reference as well without being too explicit about what it is, just for legal reasons. Don't say it too loud, but I'd like to see if people can guess it.
Can you guess the influence without copyright infringement? So you're the new EP of War Commander. So what exactly does that mean for those that don't really know what an EP does?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, first of all, it means you're all in trouble. It means that you've got someone working with you who's just incredibly passionate, albeit a little bit too loud, but someone who really cares about the industry as a whole. The players, my team, I'm here to support and not necessarily rule. I think a lot of people, when they hear executive producer, it's like someone up top making decisions. That's not what I'm about. I'm here to make things better by listening to what everyone else needs, including you, Drake, and also our players, which is obviously the most important thing. If we don't have players, we don't have a game. So it's a bit of a no-brainer for me, yeah.
Yeah, I can certainly vouch for that. You're a very good listener. You like to bring in every single person from the team and kind of throw down everybody from community to design to QA. You definitely want to hear what everyone's perspective on something is. Like no one's perspective is considered really better than another person's is the vibe I get off of you a lot.
And thanks for noticing. It's definitely, you cannot just simply come into a new team, especially like I am the newest person here, so it wouldn't make much sense if I just came in and started making the calls. Like that to me is not a good EP. So yeah, I'm here to listen.
Well, you've been with Kixeye for a while now. Like, you're not a brand new person.
No.
So what other things have you done in the company? Like, what has led you to where you're at now?
So yeah, I started in QA that like entry level QA position. Before then, though, just as a bit of a side note, there was some indie development stuff I did. I've been in a lot of different industries, but for the last, I guess, 7 to 9 years has been indie development and Kixeye. So yeah, as I said, started in QA. I was moved into an associate product analyst role where I was actually more of a product designer. So they went, right, well, let's just make you a designer. They put me in the design team on another game, where I sort of worked my way up as lead designer, and then from there, I basically did a lot of things more around the forward planning and sort of took some of the stresses off the team, like the development stresses away, so they could focus on game balance, making it fun again. A lot of teams get caught up in the release schedules. War Commander has a weekly release. Another game team I was on, it's monthly release, and you get very bogged down in the details. So taking away some of the stress about what we're doing in future allowed people to, like I said, focus on the actual fun aspects of the game. So I kind of made myself redundant. um which is, it's not a bad thing, right? Like I freed myself up so that they could move me around, and now here I am on the War Commander team as executive producer. So it's been quite the ride.
Right on. Yeah, so the other game that you worked on was Vega Conflict. So for
Hmm.
anybody who hasn't had a chance to play Vega Conflict, it is available on your phones,
Yeah,
mobile devices.
Steam.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you can definitely check that out, especially if you're into like space combat, spaceships, things like that. So
Yep.
it's a very pretty game too, with
It's
everything in
it's a gorgeous
space.
game. Yeah,
I love
I
looking at
mean,
it.
very similar as well in terms of base upgrading and things like that, like the strategy side of things. So it's similar to War Commander, but like you said, set in space.
Yeah.
Very pretty game. I think it's about 7 or 8 years old now, so it's getting up there just like
Yep.
War Commander is. But we're about to enter a brand new season on that game as well. So yeah, I don't want to steal players away from War Commander, but definitely check it out if you're so inclined.
So you're taking over a game though with a lot of history.
Hmm.
So how do you do something like that? Like, what kind of vision do you have for the game? Like, I guess I kind of got a lot of questions here at once. Like, what is it like first stepping into a game that has been around for quite a long time?
I mean, it can be daunting if you think that you need to come in and, like I said, start making sweeping changes and decisions. But because that's not my approach, I actually think a lot of people misunderstand the role of what an EP or even just a producer does. Like I said, it's my job to actually listen to the team, no matter what their level of experience or seniority or anything like that, and just making sure that I have information before I help make the decision. So it's my job to do the best I can, not just for the team here, but the actual players that have supported us since the game was released, which is, what are we, in year 9 almost, for War Commander?
I guess if it were like centuries,
Hmm.
or I think we're on like year 10. I think we're
Yeah,
going like we're almost 10. Yeah.
it's a lot of history. So, like I said, it can be daunting, but we've got an awesome community, and I want to make War Commander the best it can be. So, I mean, new features, new fun things. Like I want a similar approach to what I did with Vega Conflict, where I want to help the team look further ahead, so that you guys can kind of focus on getting the now right. So I'll take
Mhm.
the stress away from thinking about what the hell's going to happen in the future, and then we can get the now right. So that's my biggest thing. I don't have a specific vision. Like I said, I'm the newest person. I want to know what the players feel like. I want to know what the CS team feels like. I want to know what the designers have been wanting to do but haven't had the time or the bandwidth to do. So that's kind of my goal, is to just make
Mhm.
everyone feel a little bit better about their work.
Well, and not to give away kind of what we're working on, but right before we sat down for this, we actually had a really good kind of pre-planning meeting for a feature that, might not even be out for another 6 months,
Yeah,
maybe more.
exactly.
Something pretty cool. So we are very much looking very far ahead and
Hmm.
having those conversations and
Yeah, and I,
putting that
and I
work.
hope that says to players that we are here to support the game for as long as they're willing to support us.
Mhm.
That I don't like having the idea that the games have some sort of off switch where it's like, okay, it's time to kill the game or sunset the game. These are very amazing games with very amazing communities around them, and the longer they stay around, the better. So that's my job. Keep this game running.
You've been diving into War Commander nonstop for the last month and change.
Yeah.
What's your favorite
Two,
thing about
two,
War
it's actually
Commander?
coming up to 2 months now. Like, if I
Yeah.
1st of June was sort of when I really would officially say I was paying 100% attention. My favorite thing. It's funny, actually, before I started playing War Commander, I didn't really pay too much attention. Like, we all get stuck in our own little bubbles on different game teams. I knew of it and I'd played it, but I didn't pay it much attention. And I wouldn't have thought one of my favorite aspects would have been the visual style. You know,
Mm.
being an older game, it's not for everyone. But there's so many like map variations and cool little details to check out when I'm in combat. And I actually, one of the first things I asked the like designers and artists when I was onboarding was, why don't we have some of those NPC combat maps for players to acquire? Like, because you can buy, like, I think there's 4 or 5 that you can purchase, the snow, the train
Yeah,
tracks, and
yeah, yeah,
all that sort
yeah.
of stuff. They're brilliant. I found like a thorium cave on some map. I was stunned at the level of variety on a game that's all sprite based, and I mean, it looks like Command and Conquer back in the day.
Mm.
absolutely gorgeous. So I wouldn't have suspected that to be my answer, but here we are.
Yeah, the art team. We had Santiago on a couple episodes where he really talked about the art approach like crazy, and
Yep.
that's one thing. It's like when you think of a 9 year old coming on 10 year old game, you don't expect the amount of effort that goes into like making so much stuff. Like when you look at the hero pictures, when you look at the units, when you look at these maps, the amount of detail and thought that goes into them is very astounding.
Yeah, it's obscene. I think it's brilliant. Can't speak highly enough.
So I have to comment that you are from Australia. This isn't this isn't a dramatic speech impediment. You have an accent.
I mean, there's not much difference between those two. Yes, I probably have an easily identifiable accent, at least different from yours, Drake.
Yeah. So everybody knows, this is just a personal question from me.
Hmm.
Everybody knows that Australia has like the scariest animals. Like there's the running joke that everything in Australia wants to kill you.
Yeah,
Now,
that's not a lie. Yeah, that's true.
now being somebody who's actually from Australia,
Hmm.
what would you say is the scariest the actual scariest animals for
Yeah, the
somebody who's
actual
living there?
yeah, like not the ones
Yeah.
that get hyped up on TV shows and put
Right,
everywhere or
right.
whatever. So scariest ones, I guess, would be the ones that you're not really aware of or that you don't see. So I live in a spot called Queensland, which is
That just makes
typically
it infinitely more terrifying. Like,
like, look, you wanted an honest answer. You're getting the scary answer. Okay, so I live in Queensland. It's typically home to some of the more deadly animals, due to the fact that we have like a lot of bushland. Like, if you were to picture Australia, you would picture sort of Northern Territory or Queensland, like, dry, hot, bushland, that sort of stuff. So we got plenty of snakes, which really don't bother people. They're yeah, pretty chill. Unless you stuff up and you actually step on one, they're not going to seek you out. Like, they would prefer just to sit, don't disturb me, right? However, there is a spider called a redback. It's about the size of your thumbnail, and it absolutely loves to sit in dark, quiet places. So, for example, when I was growing up, you would come home from riding a bike or being out, throwing rocks at your friends at the creek, and you would take your shoes off. You would leave them outside because they'd be covered in mud and whatever. So you just leave them there. The next day, you would be putting your shoes on, but you would really need to make sure that you were checking inside your shoes. And like, I'm talking all the little crevices and everything, because if you put that on, like, you just ram your foot in there and there's a redback in there, it's going to bite you, and you're either going to be extremely ill or just straight up dead. So, in terms of scary things, if putting on your shoes in the morning seems like a mundane task, imagine if there was a redback in it, and there's your answer.
so I just looked up that spider while you were describing it,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and the first thing that I thought of was like, is that a black widow? And then I'm reading the description that it is also known as the Australian black widow.
Yeah, I think it's even more deadly than the Black Widow, because I know the
Of
Black
course
Widow's
it
right
is.
up there. Yeah, I mean, it's here. So I know for all the viewers at home, definitely Google redback spider. It's an incredibly beautiful creature. Like, don't get me wrong, this isn't me putting a slight on this creature. I
You don't
think
want it
they're
to come.
incredible. No, yeah, if it hears me talking about it, it's going to come for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're absolutely beautiful creatures, but they should be respected. So I think a lot of it is, if you respect the animal, like, we're in their territory. It's like if you go swimming at the beach in Queensland, don't swim out. You're going to get eaten by a shark. So
Right.
just stay in the shallows and respect the animal's area. So it's the same thing with spiders. They're not literally out to kill you, but they can. So
They certainly can. Well, Planck, thank you for the interview here, and
very
welcome
welcome.
to the team.
Thanks.
I'm sure the community is definitely going to be excited to hear this and hear what's kind of going on with the team.
Yeah.
Other than that, all you folks out there, this has been your newest episode of Drake's Dungeon. We'll have another episode for you next month. Until then, thank you so much for playing War Commander.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Drake.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.